Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the New Design for Living, and the show is all about reimagining how we live, love, and treat each other. Consider it a new system that is running alongside, building itself in real time, using the collapse of the old system as a reference point as well to how it is we do want to live, how it is we do want to treat each other, how it is that we want to govern ourselves. Last week, I talked a little bit about the new design for the citizen, because when we speak about the new design for government, within that is the new design for the citizen. I want to introduce my guest, Catherine Nicholas, with me on the show today, a somatic healer and just an overall profound and highly impactful woman healer in our community. Catherine, welcome to the show. So great to finally have you on.
Hi, Camille. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much.
We're going to get into a great topic today because in the New Design for Living, though we certainly acknowledge, respect, and recognize the personal healing modalities, primarily talk therapy, though there are others that we've been involved in for 25, 30 years, we are seeing the what I would call the energy modalities move to the front. They've been here all the while. But the way it's all set up in the old design model, you've had to seek out these type of modalities for personal healing, be it EMDR or somatic healing. But certainly now we can see that they are front and center, and I'm going to talk a bit about that with you today. But I know you also went to the rally on Saturday. I just wanted to start off with a quick summary of that beautiful experience. As I said on the video I did Saturday after my bike ride, because I just needed to go process the whole thing. Really, it comes down to that it was medicine. It was medicine for the people, by the people. It was a profoundly healing experience to go out and see thousands of Alaskans here in Anchorage and throughout the state, but we were up to I think 5,000 is the legitimate number that is being posted, though maybe it's more. I don't think it was less, because when we were coming downtown, people were walking all the way from 13th, 14th Avenue. Parking was nowhere to be found. Kids and their parents and strollers and kids on the backs of their dads and all heading towards L Street near the Peterson building to peacefully stand, to peacefully assemble, to peacefully protest this world that doesn't work for everybody. And I think one of the things that deeply touched me is the feeling like, yeah, we came out for ourselves because, as I said, it was a brutal week last week for the heart. And we weren't even the people brutalized. But it was difficult day after day after day to watch what we saw last week, culminating with the assassination on Saturday in Minnesota. We came out for ourselves. We came out for our community, but I really could feel like we were coming out to represent all those people that were brutalized this week, all those people that were snatched up from their sidewalks and their jobs and the fields in California, literally the fields where these people have been picking our food for decades. And it was very emotional to see that and to feel that, because it really confirms what the New Design for Living is all about. We actually love each other. We're actually really tired of being divided. We love each other. We want to be here for each other. We're willing now to stand with each other. And something happened on Saturday. Something turned on Saturday. Some page was turned. Some new chapter has begun for us here in America. As over, I said 12. Catherine, you said there's some new figures showing it into the 30 plus, maybe 40 million Americans hit to the streets peacefully this weekend. What was your experience?
I think the word is unity. I think as we show ourselves, just as you just said, we love one another, but we're being asked to show it, and we can. Being in the entity on Saturday of all of those people coming and rallying together in support of the word democracy, but it really is about unity, that we will not let people be arrested without the proper warrant, the legal route. We will not stand for it. And I think that that is what the people in the United States of America are standing up for.
Mm-hmm. I would agree to that for sure. And even though it's still happening, we have, without a doubt, taken a stand about it. And so I want to start with your personal journey. You've been doing this for 30 plus years. Was it the kind of thing for you as a young person where you sensed something was different or special or unique about you as it relates to energy?
I think that, I've always had courage. I've always had courage to stand up against the wrong things that were happening in front of me, the things that I witnessed, whether it was bullying, mostly bullying in my younger days, whether it was in the neighborhood or at school. And then I fought literally with my teachers all the way through my schooling. And I fought against prejudice and you just constantly standing up for myself, not always winning, but I've never stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's the part of me that I came here with courage. And so in working with that wonderful privilege that I have to be just a person of strength, it has guided me through the ups and downs of life. And once I started to say yes to what was calling me, and that was work with my hands. And that literally was a sentence that I heard within my body back in 1990. And that's when I literally sunk my whole self into the healing arts.
When you were growing up as a child, did you have a relationship to your hands before you could really maybe have a language for it? Did you?
The presence that took place was with my daughter, where I just very naturally rubbed her feet every single night. And I just did it because I knew it was the right thing to do. And then years later, when I went into this practice, I learned in the Ayurvedic medicine that Pisces is the feet, represents the feet, and my daughter is a Pisces. Mm-hmm. And there I was, assisting her to be calm, to regenerate her nervous system. And I kind of chuckled that day that I learned that, and then learned the body mapping of astrological signs to the body, because they actually show when you align, it gives you the body mapping to understand your weaknesses first. And when you understand where that aligns in the system, then you can really be attentive and change that and bring that force that is innate to you, bring it up to a higher standard.
And that's why I played that song Nervous System by that trio, Joseph, because of what you just mentioned, and also because not only are we dealing with our personal nervous system that's under assault right now with all this information and this constant, we have breaking news kind of, feeling, is the collective nervous system that I know you and I have talked about this, and you have a belief, and I agree with that we're talking about not just a current day collective nervous system, that the ancestral nervous system is also up and asking for us to heal it from its trauma.
Yes. What I've witnessed in my practice is that literally the client on the table gets imagery of long lines of their ancestors. They can literally see them and feel them. And as their energy breaks through and comes into the enlightenment stage, it's like what I witness is the erasing of all of that pain and suffering that when we came here, we brought that with us. And that has been the pattern in this world, is of pain and suffering. And when you understand that you do not have to carry that you can let that go, yes, it takes practice, but the reality is that you can change it.
You're talking about your daughter's feet, massaging them. So I know from there you kind of first became a massage therapist.
Right.
How did you and somatic healing find each other?
Well, what took place for me was that people that got on my table under me being a massage therapist had experiences immediately. And their expression was, I saw purple, I saw blue, I saw white. They would tell me of all these colors, patterns of colors. And they also said that they were in their body. They saw patterns of light in particular areas of their body. And so what I did was, because I didn't have the knowledge or the ability to express what was taking place, I stood in complete silence. And that led me to absolutely feel the energy as it transferred between the person, between my hands and the person. I felt it coming up through my feet, literally. So I expressed that it always came from the earth, through me, through the client, and then up into the atmosphere. And that's how that led me to doing and understanding and working towards energy therapy. I found a great teacher. His name was Maruti Seidman, and I studied with him for years. And I sponsored him May and September in many, many, many places. And that was polarity therapy actually comes from India, and it is part of the Ayurvedic body therapy.
So if someone was to ask you what is somatic healing, how do you answer that?
It is the ability or assistance of the therapist to, again, assist the energy of the client's body. Some people, like me, I don't have to go in and jar bones or distress systems. I can literally place my hand over a particular part of the body and another hand on another part, because we have so many nadis in the body. I'm not going to say numbers here because it's not important. There are structures. There's these points in the body, and sometimes they get stagnated, and they're stagnated through trauma. And that can be, go to the ABCDs of trauma. Is that emotional? Is that physical? Is that mental, where you're creating a pattern, or in a lot of people, the pattern was created at a very young age, and they're not even aware of it. There's patterns of guilt. There's patterns of, I am not good enough. I don't deserve that. And on and on and on. And we all know them, whether we recognize them within ourselves or our family, our friends, our neighbors. We've all heard the stories. And so when for me, it takes a conversation, and I watch the different nuances in a body. And then, so my nuances are in the eye movement, what I'm feeling out of the brain. It's like the moment a person says to me, yes, I want an appointment, there's an exchange that actually starts taking place. And there's information that is getting passed to me. So when the client comes in and I have an intake and I ask very specific questions, there's information that comes out of the person, and that gets absolutely targeted right on the very first session. And that is about the unwinding of the nervous system, because that has been entangled for a very long time.
Catherine Nicholas is our guest today. She is a somatic healer. We're talking about the new design for personal healing within the realm of healing modalities, energy modalities. 907-222-1061 is the phone number today. So what I'm kind of summarizing is that somatic healing addresses the role that the body plays in storing and processing and expressing, I would imagine, emotions, trauma, stress.
Or joy. You can absolutely go totally into a joyful experience. I have witnessed everything that is around. I've worked on so many people, over 10,000. And there is a space within ourselves for us to acknowledge and release all trauma, and it does not have to be so painful, and it doesn't have to take months and months and months.
And I'm a demonstration of that for sure. I mean, I have nothing but respect and reverence for energy modalities, and I've been in them in the last 2 to 3 years, focused. And the best way I've been able to describe it is it's like a big eraser. First of all, in the old design model, it's matter, right? I got to see it to believe it. It's this physical body. It's everything physical. In the new design model, we understand, that's the end of it, right? The plant is the end of the process. There's the soil, there's the seed. And so we have great respect for the other systems, the nervous system, the energetic system, right? All of these systems that perhaps prop up maybe the physical body. And the beauty of somatic healing and other energy modalities is that it's just this beautiful big eraser. It's gentle, but it's so dynamically effective. And because the system is an interwoven system, like what happens over here, somehow, by the beauty of it, can affect what's happening over here. And so when I visited with Catherine, because I'm all about this, somebody says to me, "Oh, I just had a session with this woman and this is what she did." I'm like, "I'm in, give me your number," because I'm very much inspired by these modalities and the profound work that they can do, because you're right. In the old design model, it's all about time, having your next appointment. Again, it's, if talk therapy is your thing, that's a beautiful thing. But like, as I was explained, talk therapy takes the file out of the cabinet. You look at it from different perspectives, different angles. You have different insight, and then you put it back in. Then tell me if you agree with this. But the modality that you're in rearranges the emotional structure around the issue in a way that does what we're talking about, begins to unravel it and ultimately dissolve it.
Yes, exactly. Because the person is witnessing. They're literally witnessing that dissolving. They recognize that they don't have to keep that inside their bodies, because what now resides in their body is joy and love. It's self-love. Many people really didn't have an understanding that they themselves have had to take care of themselves. They thought somebody else was going to take care of them, or God would walk in the room and, touch their forehead and save them. It doesn't happen like that. It happens that you step into love, and love regenerates every atom in the body, every cell. And that's the awareness. That's as simple as I can put it. And for those of us that are walking, there's nobody that's any different. We all have to do our work. And we all should be asking for assistance when we're in these places of being stuck or can't make a decision, or the pattern is so old it just is so, you just succumb to it. But you don't have to live like that. It really is quite amazing and easy and gentle to have 1 or 2 sessions, 3 sessions, depends on the person's crises. And for me, generally it's very quick. And then I say, do maintenance, come back and see me every 3 months, 6 months, whatever you feel is comfortable. I do talk therapy on the phone to guide people through an immediate crisis or to just get started if they're from another place in the world. And again, the pieces for me to express to people, especially our veterans, especially people that have been physically abused and really don't have the strength to get out there and seek something different. I want you to know that there is a space for you and it doesn't harm you anymore. It actually gives you the opening, it gives you the support, and I give an absolute physical direction and mental direction and emotional direction to carry on. People take notes before my session or after my session. And there's homework. And that's what it takes.
Yeah. It's a co-partnership.
Yes.
Because in the old design model, there is a lot of pressure or the way it is feeling that you are supposed to figure it out on your own.
Right.
That it could be seen as a sign of weakness, especially for men. And in fact, I was just actually watching an interview with Bruce Springsteen and Michelle Obama on YouTube, and they're talking a lot about his therapy. And he says that in the beginning he was so embarrassed as a man to have to go and get therapy. It was his wife who encouraged him to go. He was at a breaking point. He knew it, but there was such resistance from all his programming, growing up in the 50s, and his own mind's resistance that he was weak. And it was really, I had a lot of compassion for him and anyone who feels that level of resistance internally when they know they've gone as far as they can on their own and they want to get help. And yet there's so much that pushes up against them, and how important it is to really be compassionate with yourself if you're in that position today and know that that doesn't have to be the deciding factor.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Literally continue to give yourself courage to stand up and go out and seek the help you need, because there are so many people out here that can support you and help you to make these transitions.
Have you ever done work in groups?
I have. And I love it. I love it because, again, I'm a seer. I can see things about people and identify the markers that they have within them.
How is it different in a group? Is it different in a group as far as your role?
It just helps me, period, to identify and how to, again, my words are gently bring that force open, right? Because it's a force within them that is leading them on a continuous path of self-sabotage, right? So knowing that they have this going on, identifying it and gently giving that support to them to understand that that's part of them that needs more love. That's a part of them that had to get stronger in order to survive something that happened to them. So I understand that behind all pain, right, behind all anger is pain. And when you acknowledge the pain within you, you actually give it the description of what took place, then you can literally forgive. Just forgive yourself for carrying that burden so long. And you don't necessarily have to forgive any other people. That's up to you. But forgive yourself that you do not need to carry this. And you give it over to love. Because there again, it's that space within you that's been holding on to this pain. But it's actually hurting us. It hurts the body. And that's where we become stagnated in certain parts of the body, whether they're organs or joints or the brain. And once that acknowledgement takes place, then it supports the energy to be released forever. Forever.
And so what role then does the cell have as a storage unit for unprocessed emotion?
Once that is released, it's over. It's out. It's out of the system. It actually is energy. And that's what we need to understand is that that's all we are. Every cell is a negative and positive cell that produces an energy. That energy is I, you. And we want to always work on loving ourselves so that we can hold the mass of love that we truly are.
And I appreciate you saying that, because one of the things I was thinking about over the weekend is what it looks like when someone is completely disconnected from themselves.
It's messy.
It's very messy, to say the least. And because that's a lot of what I see going on. We have a lot of people, a lot of adults in positions of power and privilege who are completely disconnected from themselves, from their body, and obviously from their heart, literally cut off at the neck. And that's why in the new Design for Living, we talk a lot about the journey from the head to the heart. Right. Because in the old design model, it is about the mind. It is about what you know. Right. But in the new design model, it's about the heart and how you feel, with equal resonance and with equal respect and with equal qualifications, because in the old design model, the heart isn't valued at all. It's not even seen for what it really is.
Right.
But what I saw on Saturday, locally and throughout the country and world, is the collective heart.
But there again, we have to keep a balance between the brain and the heart, because what we do know is that as the establishment today, I call it the regime, they are about money. So as long as they're making their money, then their machine wants to keep growing, growing, growing. And money is not evil. It's simply about how do you use it? What does it do for you? And it literally, in the universal way, we want to function here. We all, in this 2025, we should all be receiving free medical services. We all should be homed. We all have a home. We all should be fed, because we have the capabilities to do all of that. So it's quite insane, the deliverance that we're seeing today with this regime and all of the cuts and the organized, we want these people out, we want these people out, we want these people out, but we want the white people and the people that have money. So we understand that from energy, that will never work. And as the people of the United States of America continue to rise and give their presence, and that presence was formidable on Saturday.
Oh my gosh.
throughout the United States.
It was amazing.
It was so beautiful. I am so proud of everybody that was able to attend everywhere in the United States. But here's, as we get through the days, what I have recognized is that my duty is to speak to my representatives. And what I'm doing is as many as 5 days a week, I'm calling my representatives, sharing my feelings. I am emailing my representatives, sharing my feelings about the regime. The more that we speak, the more they acknowledge where the power is. And I personally do see a general strike coming at us. And I hope that everyone understands that if that is called, we shall do that peacefully, but we all need to do it. All people, but not, the emergency people, the hospitals and the police and the fire department, they will be asked to stay in their duties. But if that comes down, I hope that people will respond well.
And that's why last Monday I talked about that this is a revolution of consciousness.
Correct.
That is the beginning point, because that's where everything begins, in consciousness.
Right.
And we are watching ourselves and each other have a massive extreme makeover right now, which again, I feel we have co-created. As I say often, you can't participate in 30 years of self-help, then get helped, and then not expect the outer container that's held us to not change. And so we get to use the contrast of what we don't want as a powerful indicator of what we do want. And based on what we saw on Saturday, we want more connection, we want more harmony, we want more community, and we want more love. And it was medicine, and we needed it. And I know it's the beginning for sure. Unfortunately, this is not a one and done kind of thing.
We have, in our generation, I'm 70 years old, and we have been at the front lines before with civil rights.
Sure.
And even though we had wonderful changes in our laws, there still has been discrimination in our country against people of color. And that has always been something that I personally have fought for and will continue. And again, this regime, the unitedness against them is pivotal in our way forward, because our love is greater than anything. But we, again, the unity of all standing together and doing our work.
Yeah. I mean, one of the great signs was the power in the people is greater than the people in power.
Correct.
And, there's even a great song out that I play a lot about finding your power. And that's what's happening. The new design model, like I say, it's not for everybody, but it could be if you wanted it to be, because there's so much in it that is identified as radical from the old perspective, but it's totally evolutionary in the new perspective. I mean, this idea of awakening to the program of separation that's been built into societies, built into the human condition. There is an authority outside of me that knows better than myself. And I'm always really fascinated every single day watching life and my own life through that filter, because I still have stuff that's coming up and tapping me on the shoulder going, hey,
me too.
You're doing a great job healing, and now you made room for this to come up. I'm like, oh my gosh,
right.
When the heck does this stop? But it's not about stopping. It's about this unraveling.
Yes.
And I think when you talk about the nervous system, would it be legitimate to say that on Saturday, the collective experienced a somatic healing? Like we gave each other something from the love that was expressed?
I firmly believe that for me, it was seeing and taking that information in through my eyes into my brain, into my body, that these amazing people, and as you said earlier, the parents brought their children, they carried them, they were in strollers, they were in wagons, animals were there with signs on them, and older people with canes. Some people had crutches. It was so impacting to witness that all of these people dedicated Saturday to come together. That was so, it was so invigorating. For me, I had energy running through my entire body. And when I experience that, I know I'm in love.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I went for a bike ride, because I had so much energy running through me. I thought I need to get on my bike, process this in the way that I do.
Right.
And then I came back and I shared that video about this idea that it was about medicine. Catherine Nicholas is my guest today. She's a somatic healer here in Anchorage and throughout the country. 907-222-1061 is our phone number if you want to jump in on the conversation. One of the things that I experienced the first time I got on the table, and because let me just say this again, in the new design model, and it's a journey into the model, just like with anything. Some people have instantaneous. For most of us, it's a journey. It's a journey over the bridge from one into another. Just like, in the pool, right? Sometimes you put your toe in, sometimes you put your foot in. Sometimes you start at the kiddie end and you go down the steps and you make yourself more and more comfortable with each. However it is for you, it's that you've started the journey, that you've begun, So in the new design model, we have all sorts of different interpretations and definitions of old words, right? Like death, right? There's no such thing as death. You can't kill energy. So we talk about transitioning out of the body, right? So that's the kind of language shift that we have. And so when I first got on the table with you, and we talked about this afterwards, it was very profound because as soon as your hand touched my left arm, I was gone. Bye-bye. And I remember very profoundly, even right now, it's just really remarkable. I had an experience. How did I know I was gone? Because I had a moment where it's like literally my breath came back into my body. And I literally did something like, and then I was back. And afterwards, I said to you, I asked you, I said, so is this kind of how it is when we die? We leave. And you said, yes. It's also what happens at night. So can you just, from a basic level, talk a little bit about how that all is and how maybe we can work with it these days to help ourselves?
Well, my gift is that I'm able to assist people to go into the deeper states of consciousness. So one of my gifts is to bring people out beyond theta. So that's when the brain waves calm down. And your consciousness and your soul, with me, a lot of people actually, the soul gets to travel. And one of my jobs is to protect the body so that the soul can go out and travel and do journey work, clearing, remodeling if you want, finding the answers, going to the source, and then re-entering the body and coming back into the body. That's my job. That's one of my jobs. And my other job is to unwind the segments of the systems that are terribly entangled, if you will.
What have you heard from clients are some of the measurable physical results that they experience once they leave and go back into their lives?
Well, many people have said, I'm taller. That's a constant. And literally, it's because I am able to engage the systems so that they can realign the body bones. And I'm not going in and manipulating the body, but because they go into such a deep state of relaxation, the muscle system can actually calm down so that the bones can go back into their natural place. So that's always a joy whenever anybody, recognizes that they've been realigned.
Wow.
Right. It's very easy for me to bring bones back into the proper relocation. Again, just through bringing the systems into that zero space. And then I actually have a gentle pressure on the hips to the shoulders, and they realign. I can hold the brain. I can hold the neck to the top of the cranium, and the cervical bridge will actually realign itself. And the occipital, the bones will, again, realign. I've had the privilege of, at a person that had terrible pain inside of the inner ear. And on the hand, we have different elements of the hand. So the thumb, ether, pointer finger, ether, air, fire, water, earth represents the hand. So the earth being the pinky. Applying the pinky very gently into the ear, not going very far, but just being in that stationary place. Because once I went over the face of this client, I actually felt that there's a floating bone inside the ear. But with hers, she had actually taken a fall, and it was jarred.
Wow.
Right. And it was disorientating her. She was dizzy. She had pain. And I was able to, with time, because where my sessions are 2 hours, right? They go from 90 minutes to 2 hours. So I'm there to assess and be of service. And that's what I do. I listen to the body profoundly and work at understanding where the tightness is, or the restriction, or the out of balance.
Well, the other thing you're talking about, too, that's in alignment with the way I see it, is that the body is an intelligence. And we don't necessarily do the work. However, what I'm hearing you say is, in part, you're creating the atmosphere for the body to be at its optimal state for its own internal realignment. Would that be a fair thing to say?
Absolutely perfect. I'm working with a person's system. So many things happen, right? The entanglement, whether it's the nervous system, whether it's a shoulder out of place, whether it's the heart is just so troubled with life's burdens. The colon is having a disruption. And all of these, like a person that continuously has urinary tract infections, well, what you really want to say to them, what are you so pissed about, right? So bring it all home. Help them to understand that there's an agenda taking place within themselves that they didn't see. They couldn't see or can't see because of the shame, because of the blame, because of the oppression, suppression, depression. And we have to uncover that, and we have to open that up and recognize that, yes, we can heal this. We can literally heal it and wrap it up in a box.
Yeah.
And
toss it.
Yeah.
And that's the power of energy medicine. And that to me that's why it's the time for it is right now.
Yes.
Because I feel like we don't have a lot of time. And it's wonderful. And I get the whole thing about time is eternal. However, I am speaking from our everyday living that people are ready. People are ready. And I used the word yearning not too long ago, and I really felt and still really do. And I think part of it was experienced on Saturday. We are yearning for our own wholeness. Mm-hmm. And in the old design model, we've been parceled out. On some level, we agreed. That's why this parts therapy is so fascinating that I'm also learning about. But we parceled out parts of ourselves, and our identity has been hinged on these external parts that the program told us would inform us of who we are. Correct. And so this momentum towards our individual and collective healing is waking us up to that, and we're not interested in it anymore. Right? Like we are seeing it from these fresh perspectives and with fresh eyes and going, oh my gosh, no wonder. Yes. And our desire for the healing is, let's just get this done. I want to experience my own wholeness because really this shift that we're in right now, this historic, evolutionary, humanity level shift is really asking for our best selves.
Absolutely. And it's here, it's present.
And so these modalities like somatic healing that you offer kind of get the job done. Like I'm an Aries, right? So times a couple. And so anything that can get it done. It's like, why are you still talking? Come on, get it done. I'm already there.
Go, man, go.
Exactly. And so if you're in a situation where you feel like I've been carrying this for so long, I'm ready, this is the kind of work you can participate in. If you had post-traumatic stress, I mean, my goodness, that's what we're also experiencing right now.
Right.
Parents being ripped away from their babies. Okay, like it's just horrible. And that's in part what brought us out on Saturday. We can't see this anymore. We don't want to see this anymore. It's not that we don't want to feel it, but in other words, it's like, no, this is not okay. And I can't continue to just live my life and go shopping to Costco on Saturday. I've got to go and spend my time in this way.
Which is literally the consciousness of the planet. And it's very, very difficult at times because it's, if you turn the TV on, your computer, whatever you turn on, it is in your face. So you really want to be very caring to yourself, to feed yourself well, to nurture yourself, to maybe look at it for only an hour or less, because you don't want to continue the bombardment. It's very, very sad, but the reality is that this earth plane that we have lived on for millions and millions of years is hard. It's a very difficult space, and most of us have been here millions of years, and we've endured suffering. We've endured the poverty. We've endured the murder, the rapes, all of it. And this consciousness that we are speaking of, we want to truly arise and stop this.
I'm hearing you. And I hope that who's ever listening today is hearing this too, because I say often on my other programs that you have to take a break because your nervous system was not developed for this type of an assault. And it doesn't even matter whether your mind believes it or not. The truth is, it's true. And to go for a walk, to hug a tree. Here in Alaska, we're blessed with this phenomenal Mother Nature experience, to go watch a sunset, whatever you can do to really bring a sense of awareness and respect to the nervous system is super important right now, especially if you're engaged, but even if you're not, maybe even more so if you're not, because maybe you're not moving the energy. You talked about systems. Is there something else you work with that somatic healers work with besides the nervous system?
I work with every system of the body, the actual brain, whether it's the adrenals, the hormones, the vascular system, your airways, your respiratory system. It doesn't matter. because I can engage with all of them. I've worked with a lot of traumatic brain injury patients. I've worked with people that have had casts on their bodies. It does not matter what you're ailing with, because
it's all connected.
It's all connected, and it's all about energy. So it's not that nothing gets in the way, and I can certainly, be with any system of the human body.
Is there a particular story that in our final moments you might be thinking about? I guess I'm thinking about our veterans a lot and the type of trauma they have in their cells and stored in their systems. Mm-hmm. And you were just talking about the brain.
Yeah, I worked with Dr. Sandra Denton here.
Oh, sure.
This was back in the 90s, and I worked with Rosemary Cody and Dr. Denton. Rosemary was an acupuncturist, and we offered our services for free, and specifically for the Gulf War veterans.
Wow.
And that was an amazing experience on my part because, to have the privilege of working with the vets and assist them in releasing the trauma that they experienced, and then go into the physical experiences, because those young men and women were inoculated with some types of, I'll just say they were inoculated. But what happened to them is that they've had a lot of children that were disformed, and even their wives, once they came home, or their partners, became ill. So we saw a lot of very bizarre, strange physicalities, and the stress and the strain was very, very intense. And our work was well received, and all I can say is I am here and present for you, and I will work with anyone.
Well, thank you so much, Catherine, for being on the show
honor,
today.
An honor, Camille.
It's really, I know that the work I have done with you and others in town, because I was after my own wholeness. Like when and COVID is the unspoken, well, it's not unspoken, but COVID is the collective trauma, right? I mean,
Correct.
that is the elephant in the room as well. It's a very crowded room. There's a lot of elephants in it that introduced trauma to us in a more, dare I say, normalized way. But in other words, what I mean to say is that experience traumatized an entire population, whether it was because your loved ones were in hospitals you couldn't go to, or because change was imposed upon you, and, whatever it all was. I've just come to super appreciate the efficiency of energy modalities like somatic healings. Mm-hmm. And I have been on your table, I believe, 3 times, each time called by my own sense of self. Okay, let's take this issue to the table. And each time it was profoundly healing for me. I remember one time, the second time I went, I was so attached to the first experience, but I didn't have that experience the second time. The second time, because I was talking about blocks, and the second time you used oils, essential oils, and you were kind of like, pounding on the bottom of my feet. And I remember, and I'm sure you do right now, a week or so later, I'm calling you up saying, oh my God, because I think it's important for people like you to hear the testimonies of how, because we leave the table, you don't know.
That's right.
But I respect you enough and others to say, hey, I want to tell you what happened, because I know it's directly related. I mean, first it was like, why the hell is this happening? And then my heart was like, hello, you did go on the table the other day. Oh yeah, right. And sure enough, the energy was moved.
Yeah.
The energy was dissolved.
Yes.
And whatever it was holding came up, so to speak, came out to be healed.
Yeah.
And so it certainly comes with your own, I feel like we also need to have courage, and you need to be brave, because when you say yes to this level of healing, you're saying yes to your own wholeness. And it's just such a profound modality. I'm just so grateful for your time today to chat about it. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for tuning in to the show as well, The New Design for Living. Every Monday at noon, you can find out more about me at my own website, CamilleConte.com. Take super good care of yourself today, and I'll see you next Monday.